Hello everyone, we are RX, Oliver and friends. Today we are playing another Call of Cthulhu one shot. And we've got big Phil in the keeper seat, and with me tonight we've got Max and Chris. This one is the case. We're back in the 1920s, Providence, Rhode Island, I believe. But I will hand it over to the keeper and he'll tell us a little bit more
Okay,
about it.
yeah, so this is the case. It should be, well, it's going to be a one shot. We're going to fit it in tonight one way or another. It is originally part of the Brotherhood of the Beast campaign, which is it 5th or 6th edition campaign, I think. But yeah, we're playing it as a standalone game. The game is set in Providence, Rhode Island. It is the 6th of October, 1921. And you have been contacted by a Mrs. Timmons, a Mrs. Margaret Timmons, who knows either all of you or one of you know her, have a direct link to her, but you all can draw some connection to her. So first of all, I want each of you to give a description of your characters, and then we're going to go back through the characters, and you're going to tell me what your connection is to Mrs. Timmons, or specifically Mrs. Timmons' son, Brian Timmons, is the person you're really connected to. So yeah, a description of your character, and then back through explaining your connection to Brian Timmons, but also everybody else.
Okay. Do you want us to do the characters each first and then do the connections?
Yeah. So characters first, and then connection, and then we'll go back through in reverse order and do the connections. So I'm just going to go from left to right. So I'll start with Chris, on what I can see. It's probably totally different to what's on what you're seeing.
Hi, I'm Dill Swole. I'm pretty charming. I might steal your wife, and I'm a dodgy kind of guy.
Cool. And Matt.
All right. He is Maxwell Thompson. He's a big, tall, blonde hair, blue-eyed guy. He has, the crew cut looking like, the military look. He's. I think this is a time where like World War One just ended, or is about started.
It's about 4 or 5 years after World War One.
Okay, so he's like, he just signed up the military. He's only been for a couple years. He's like straight laced. He's like a very loyal, very tough guy. He always watches out for everybody else. So he's a pretty good dude.
Whoa.
Whoa.
I think it's maybe slightly different from the description, but I just found random pictures. Okay, so and Oliver.
Okay, I don't know if I'm going to attempt the accent like Chris. Chris has though, so I feel like I should. It's Thomas Clayton from New York. I'm a police detective, and I'm a hard-nosed bastard. So, Thomas has the look of a man who is both alert and tired at the same time. The bags and lines under his eyes betray his age more than his receding hair, which he pulls slick back, revealing an ever-growing forehead. He never smiles, and if he does take joy in anything, it doesn't show. So Thomas is fueled by caffeine and anger. He's 37 years old, but he looks at least 47 with stress. He takes his job very, very seriously. In fact, if you met him, you'd probably think he doesn't think about anything else. Although he is married and does have a wife and children, it seems that his job is everything to him. Thomas Clayton.
Okay, so like I say, in reverse order, you can now start with Oliver. You can, if you want to explain your connection to Brian Timmons. So I get a little bit about Brian. So Brian is 35 years old. He is a graduate history student. He studied at university and majored in history, and also anthropology. He's fluent in German, and he's from quite a rich, well-to-do background. So he's not really had a proper full-time. He's never been in proper full-time employment since he left university. So
Okay.
a bit not quite a dilettante, but that kind of almost that kind of lifestyle.
Okay, so
And
I
he's
would.
lived at home. The last time any of you saw Brian would have been several years ago at least, and he was still living at home with his parents, and he was the only child.
He's an only child, right? Okay, that was
Only
going to be my
child.
question because he's 2 years younger. What did you say? He's 35.
35.
2 years younger than my character, but we wouldn't have been to the same school if he had the posh upbringing. And I think I went to school somewhere else. I'm from New York, so I'm not from here. I didn't go to school with him. So I'm thinking maybe at one point in his dilettante life when he was younger and drinking a lot, he was the missing person in a missing persons case. That was the case that got me my first real big major promotion, that got me up to being like the chief detective in the department here, and got me the big job. And he was the missing person, and I found him, and it got me the big promotion. That's how I know him.
Okay, and what is your connection to the other two characters?
So
I'm from New York too.
all right, okay, so there we go. Maxwell is from New York. What age is Maxwell, Max?
He's 27. He's born in New York, but he lives in New Jersey right now because that's why he came back, and it's basically a little cheaper.
Here we go. Let's make it easy. Let's make it easy then, Phil. He's my cousin. If he's from New York, if he's
Okay,
from New
yeah,
York,
yeah,
he's my
whatever.
cousin.
Yeah, can be cousin, can be friends, whatever.
Yeah, it's my little cousin. There you go,
Like I
Max.
say, just so long
He's
as
he's your nephew.
Nah, it's my cousin.
He's your nephew. The age difference, come on.
No, he's only 10 years younger than me.
Yep, definitely your nephew.
He's my cousin.
No, nephew's funnier.
Have
I prefer nephew. I prefer nephew and uncle.
Is your guy got any Italian American in him, Max?
No, he's more just like an English American.
All right, must be
so
related on her mum's side then.
The main thing is that there's a good, close connection between the three of you, and
Right.
at least one of you has a close connection to Brian.
Yep.
Okay, we're cousins.
So we're going to go with cousins. Okay, fair enough. And how about
I guess it would be me because it was Chris went first.
yes, yeah, we'll just go like what was I just forgotten Chris's character's name.
Oh, my
It's,
connection to Dill.
Bill.
Dill. Yes, your connection to Dill. Yeah.
Where's Dill from and what age is he, Chris?
Dill Swall. He's from Rhode Island.
And you said he's a pilot.
He is.
Yeah, he's a pilot.
Let's say he got in a little bit of trouble one time because his pilot's license was expired, and he was. I got him off the trouble because I'm high up in the police, and we're buddies from a local bar. We're buddies from a local bar, and he got in trouble because his license, he was flying with an expired license, but it was only a couple of days over. I managed to pull a couple of strings for him, so I knew him from a bar, and we've been quite close friends ever since. That sound good to you, Chris? You said you were a dodgy guy.
Okay. Yeah, we have
that-
that.
Dill loves it.
Okay. Right then. So we shall go to Maxwell then. So yeah, what's your connection to Brian and to the other two?
Well, for Brian is actually both their dads are actually old friends, like hunting buddies. Like his dad has been a real big hunter. That's how he learned how to use guns and stuff. How he joined the military. Is when they were younger, when when he was younger, Brian was kind of like a big brother to him. Like they've been a little bit hunting because he was the rich guy, but they went hunting with him. But his dad was more like the hunter, showing how Brian's dad had to shoot and stuff like that. And he said Brian, when he was younger, too, from Big Bear, he kind of scared it off. And he just, just like, you see this shorter guy just yelling at a bear, go, ah! And it just somehow the bear just looks at him kind of like, okay, and just kind of just runs off. But it's just, it's just his brave loyalness that just shows him, like, it's like, yeah. And it just, like, he grew up watching the old film stories about, like, the war and all that kinds of stuff. That's why he wanted to join the army. And especially now with what he's relation to Tom and him their mothers are like sisters, and it's like Tom's is like the older sister, and he's the younger sister, and he's like the like third youngest of the grandchildren out of all of them. Tom's been like he's been like the hard ass with him. He's kind of like he's been helping him out, especially when he's walking around the cities, like during going through the Bronx and all that kind of stuff. Kind of warned him. He got a little bit of trouble, but it's more like he was helping up friends out, like not making sure they didn't get in trouble. And he got caught once with some of them, and his cousin kind of helped him out, not getting too much trouble, and just kind of like, look, I know you're going through a lot of shit. Your family, I don't see you getting the wrong thing. I know you were trying to help a friend out. And the guy who got in trouble was actually Dill, because him and Dill were like old friends that Dill probably came over and visit sometimes in New York, and they met through some probably at a bar or something when they were younger, and he kind of straightened himself out with like a recruiter talked to him, and he's like went from there.
Wow. That's fantastic. I will never remember all that, but
I'm sorry.
That was great.
But I know that's fine.
I'll request that in writing, please. So finally we have, of course, Dill.
Who am I matching with?
So you know everybody. So you know both. Maxwell, and Thomas, and Brian. So it's a case. Yeah, I want. What is your connection to Brian, and what is your connection to the other two? Although it's already been kind of detailed already, I think. So,
Yeah. So
yeah, your connection to Brian will do.
Okay. I used to sell a few things to Brian back when we couldn't get certain things, and from sometimes he maybe comes and asks me for other things, and I might be able to procure some fancy items for him, but that's all for a price and strictly business,
Okay, very well. So I think from all that, probably Maxwell is the one that's got the most direct link to Brian, I would say. And then, unless anybody disagrees with that. No,
that works for me.
No, yeah, I think so. I think so. So, in which case, yeah, it is the 6th of October 1921, and you have been contacted by phone or telegram. It doesn't really matter. It's up to you which. By Margaret Timmons, who is the mother of an old of Brian, your old friend. You haven't seen for several years. But she when you speak to her on the phone, she's clearly quite distraught, and she tells you that Brian's in trouble and she needs you to. She requests your assistance. She almost begs you to come and see her to help her son Brian.
Well, I've got a sense of duty to go. I mean, I know what the boy's like, or what he was like in his younger years, and how he's.
So
like
that would be to Maxwell.
Oh, sorry.
Yeah, he definitely will. It's just like he'll help family out, and he just considered like their family because they they help their family out, and he grew up with especially Brian, so he's like, yeah, he basically probably got a call, and he's probably middle of doing something, probably working at a station or something, and he goes up to the phone, and he's like, yeah, it's like, all right, I'll be there the next train I can, and he calls his dad to let him know what's going on, that he's gonna check out, see what's going on, and he heads up that way.
Okay.
And he probably calls the other two out, and is like, oh.
Yeah. So yeah, for contrivance sake and because we're on fitting this in short. We'll say that you all make that journey together to Providence. Let me get this stupid book to be open in the right place. 1 second. And it's about midday on the 6th when you pull up at the long gravel driveway that leads to this luxurious and impressive mansion that's located in one of the finer sections of Providence. And you're met at the door by a familiar face to you at least, Maxwell. You're met at the door by Jarvis, the family butler. Says, good evening, or good afternoon. Says, it's glad to see you. It's been some time, Master Thompson.
Hey, Pat, say thanks. Where's the lady of the house? Kind of chuckles.
Oh, if you'll follow me, gentlemen, I shall lead you through to the morning room, and I shall fetch Miss Maxwell immediately, Mr. Timmons immediately.
So we all arrived together, yeah?
Yes.
Okay.
So he escorts you through to the morning room and offers you all a seat, and then leaves you alone for a moment to inform Mrs. Timmons that her guests have arrived.
Well, I'll just look at the other two guys and say, what do you think old Brian's got himself into this time?
Well, you know how it is.
I mean, I can see the kind of trouble he would get himself into that she might call me, the local police detective. But you two chaps, this is interesting.
Yeah, well,
Good to see you anyway,
like, you know,
chaps.
like, yeah, it's like, you know, we consider kind of like family, but it's just like, you know, I was stationed out where I was, and I guess they got a call to me somehow, and that's kind of how it reached you guys. But I haven't heard from Brian in a while. The last time I heard him is like, you know, he's just, you know, been relaxing, drinking a little more than he normally has. But I haven't heard from him in a while. So this is like, you know, reaching from this is like, you know, not too different, but like not unheard of too much from him. But
Yeah, I mean, when I got the
this
call, I
is
wasn't
worried
too
about.
surprised when she said O'Brien's in trouble. It wasn't the most surprising thing in the world, obviously, but I wonder why it is that she's called us all three.
I guess
It's something to do with my brother's sister's mother's aunt. That's why I'm here.
Anyway, you staying out of trouble, Swole?
Not a chance, man. I'm
maybe that's why he's
just
here
a
partly to
dodgy old prick.
Still got a plane with a cargo load full of things you shouldn't have?
Never been caught smuggling once in my life. I don't know what you're talking about,
Hey.
officer.
As long as I keep getting my Cubans, I ain't gonna be. Nobody's gonna be getting caught on my watch.
Hey, you be careful what you're saying around. I don't know if he's a narc.
Jarvis? Nah. Has Jarvis been with the family since this guy was in his 20s and I rescued
Oh
him?
yeah. Jarvis has been with the family since Brian was young.
Jarvis is as good as a father to that kid as anyone. Don't worry about Jarvis.
Yeah, it's like the traditional butler. Like
Yeah.
English
I think they
butler,
cut his
kinda
tongue
thing.
out when he was 18 years old anyway.
So looking around this, having a brief look around this room, it's it's a typical. Well, you in fact, you know, Maxwell, it's not. This room hasn't changed since last you were here. The only thing that strikes you as being different is some of the family photos. In particular, the ones that contain Mr. Timmons. They've got a black ribbon border around them all.
I
So
think
is
Mr.
that for
Timmons
the
as
father or the son?
Brian's father.
Brian's father, yeah.
So his dad passed away like recently, or
You don't know. Like I say, you've not had any contact with them for several years.
I
But
look
that
over
would
to
seem
Tom.
to indicate, you know, that is the case.
Yeah, it's like, yeah, Tom, you heard anything about this? It's like, did the old man die or something?
Well, I'm saying that I'm a local police chief, Phil, so would I have heard about it? I would have if it was a crime.
You can get so. Yeah. Okay. So yeah, maybe you have heard something. Yeah. So it did. If you weren't directly involved, or you know heard it third hand, or maybe even saw an obituary in the paper. So yeah, his father did die. Let's see, when did he die? He died earlier this year. Not long ago, about only about 4 months ago.
Yeah, it's
In
like
fact,
he did
about
like,
in fact, about 4 months ago to the oh no, that's right. I'm getting the dates wrong around. Yeah, about 4 months ago.
Okay.
yeah, Max didn't return back until like a month ago, so he wouldn't know about it.
Do you know anything
And
about the
it's
cause
like,
of death?
From what you remember, you don't know the details, but from what you remember, seem to think it was an accidental death, a fall or something. You're not sure.
Maybe he's got
he
himself
was
bad
old,
with the
though.
drinking since his old man passed. We'll see. We'll see what his mother says.
So yeah, so Mrs. Timmons appears a few moments later, accompanied by Jarvis with a tray with tea and a small selection of sandwiches cut into nice triangles with the crusts cut off, which he places down on a small table between you all, and then he kind of looks expectantly at Mrs. Timmons, and she kind of nods. That'll be all, Jarvis. You can wait outside. And you can see that he clearly goes out the doors, close the doors. You can see, you know that it stood just outside. So, Margaret, Mrs. Timmons, she turns and looks at you all and sort of gives you a kind of a weak looking smile. And says, and how have you all been? It's so good to see you all after all these years. Particularly you, Maxwell.
I think like he calls her Aunt Maggie, and like he calls her the her husband uncle. I forget whatever his name would be.
It's Reginald.
But it's like
his name was Reginald.
he called him Uncle Reggie.
Yeah.
But he's like I'm sorry I've been out in my military training. I've been on station out for a while. I just returned about a month ago. I didn't hear any any telegraphs or anything from the folks about what happened. I would have seen if I would have gotten here sooner for the funeral. If there would have been with one, but it's like with the word that something might have happened to Brian. So I got here as fast as I can, and I got these gentlemen, and he can like loosely says gentlemen to like at least to Doyle over here.
I wouldn't trouble yourself too much, Maxwell. It was Reginald's wishes that when he passed that it all be kept quite quiet and low key. She is, I should mention, she is sort of still wearing mourning kind of dress, like all black.
I'll say to Mrs. Timmons. Mrs. Timmons is so very sorry to hear of the passing of your husband. He was a good man. I'm sorry for your loss.
He was indeed. Thank you. It's a rather sudden, unfortunate accident.
Dill stumbles over, just charmingly working his way towards the tray of little petite sandwiches, and picks them up and shoves them in his mouth and says, "Sorry to hear about Uncle Reggie."
Thank you, Dale. It means a lot that you're all here today. I suppose I better explain myself. I'm afraid Brian is in quite a bit of trouble. I've had to have him committed to the local asylum recently. I'm afraid Brian has gone quite insane. He's been there for several months now, and I'm becoming quite worried. The doctors there, they say they can't treat him, almost to the point that they're refusing and saying he's violent and aggressive, and that he should be moved somewhere where he can be looked after in a more secure hospital. I just don't know what to do. It's just as you know, that's not Brian at all. I'm at a loss as to what has happened. I need you to try and find out what's happened. And just help Brian. It's,
Of course, we'll do anything we can to help Mrs. Timmons. Has Brian been in any? He's not been in any police trouble, has he?
Oh no, not since that time, that one incident. It all started about 2 years ago. So Brian, as you know, he has quite a lot of free time in his hands. He has a keen interest in history, and he took to tracing the family tree. Spent many hours every day searching libraries, all public records. In particular, and it didn't take him, as you know, he's a skilled historian. It didn't take him long before he'd filled out the family tree, and so he started looking for further afield, for more obscure branches of the family, and digging further back. And it was then that he seemed to become more and more obsessed with this research, till finally, about a year ago, despite Reginald and my own concerns, Brian moved out. He bought an old farmhouse just outside Woonsocket. Despite our protests, he moved in. And from him moving into this house, we began to see less and less of Brian. But it was also not long after this, that he began to associate with a rather mysterious individual called Mr. Baines. We only met the man once, and I have to say the man definitely left a lasting impression. Just somebody not to be forgotten, and I don't mean that in a good way. He wore a wide-brimmed dark hat and heavy dark coat, and always wore dark glasses. You know what? He stayed there at the farmhouse with Brian only for a short time, maybe a few months or so. I don't know the exact amount of time, but then all of a sudden he just he left on a business trip to Europe.
And this Baines was living with your son?
Yes, but it was about this time. It was shortly after this that Brian began to show signs of a change in his personality, and myself and Reginald, we began to question Brian's state of mind. Like I say, it started with this obsession, and it just slowly became worse. That winter, we heard nothing from Brian, and so it came to May of this year, when Reginald decided to take it upon himself to drive out there, or rather Jarvis drove Reginald out to this farmhouse near Woonsocket to visit Brian, and try and talk some sense into him, try and bring him home. But I don't know what exactly occurred, but Jarvis and Reginald returned later that day, and Reginald refused to speak of what had happened.
And did Jarvis tell you?
Jarvis knew nothing. Jarvis said that he waited in the car for Reginald, and then of course it was barely 3 weeks after that Reginald met with his accident. He fell from the bedroom balcony.
A tragic accident, indeed. Again, my condolences.
As you know, he was a semi-invalid. And the fall from the second story proved fatal. Jarvis was unfortunate enough to be the first to find him. Brian when the funeral took place, Brian didn't even attend. Didn't even make any contact at all. And then later in the year, he had a little bit of a run-in with the police of some kind. I don't know the details. The local police over at Woonsocket, I believe. But by this time, it was clear that Brian's mental state had severely declined, and I was forced to have him served with the papers to have him legally committed to the hospital. And when the police and the asylum staff arrived at the farmhouse serving the papers, they say he erupted in a violent outburst, and he attacked the officers, and they had to be restrained and sedated. And now he's, as I say, he's presently residing in Holmes Sanitarium just outside of Providence. So I have visited him a few times, but he's rarely been coherent. I assume down to the medication they claim they've been forced to prescribe to him. But as I say, they for whatever reason, the asylum, they don't want to treat him anymore. They want to be placed in a more permanent home where we can be locked up, permanently locked up. You've got to help me. I really don't have anywhere else to turn to. I don't know what to do.
Mrs. Timmons, I promise anything that I can do, I will. Anything within my power is not only a law enforcement officer, but as a family man, family first, and a man who doesn't go to his own father's funeral. There's something wrong with him, and it must, there must be some madness gripping your son, because family is the most important thing. To not go to your own father's funeral, that is a madness.
Indeed, so. He didn't even call, no inquiries at all. Nothing. No, didn't respond to any attempts to contact him. And you can all make a psychology roll as well.
Okay. First roll of the game.
Psychology.
Psychology.
Where's psychology? Oh, there.
It's five for me to pass if no one else does. It's passive. You can't push this, eh?
No.
Yeah, this is kind of a passive one. Yeah, so you can spend the luck on it if you want.
Oh, can I?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'll let you spend the luck on it because
it's only 5 for me. I'll do it.
Yeah. Okay. Right. So probably, I mean, you're a seasoned detective, so you notice the tells, and there's something that Mrs. Timmons is holding back, something that she's not quite, almost feel like she's embarrassed about something.
Okay. Mrs. Timmons. Right. So how do I want to speak to her alone, without it being too obvious that I'm taking her away to speak to her alone. What's the best way to do
that? I want to speak to the old lady just very quickly, if I can.
Okay, yeah, of course you can.
So, I'm gonna extend my hand out and kind of just lean into her ear and be like, by any chance, when your husband was getting in trouble with the Rosses, did he ever mention me?
It wasn't my husband. It was Brian.
Yeah, no, sorry, Brian. Yeah, I forgot. Yeah, Brian, your son.
No, I don't believe it was. It's kind of almost half smiles. No, I don't believe it was related to your antics, Dill.
That's good, as long as it ain't any deliveries that I've delivered to him, because
it would be almost be a relief if that was the case.
Well, I think my esteemed colleague here just has some follow-up questions. Do you want to go hang out with him? Maybe go for a wee drinky poo?
Kind of. She almost manages a chuckle. And
Why don't you two boys do me?
Can I try and charm?
No.
Can I try and charm her, please?
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Why not? To what end?
To get her to go away with
Okay.
I don't have anyone's character's name. Sorry.
Thomas.
Thomas.
Thomas, Maxwell, and Dill. Okay. Well, perhaps if Thomas has some more questions, but perhaps maybe you'd like to go and see if there's anything, if there's anything that might be have a lead or some help
I was going to
Brian's room.
I was going to suggest that my two Brian's room might be a good place, but one of you boys want to go, maybe even take Jarvis out with you and go and have a look at the balcony where Mr. Just forgot the last name. Timmons, where Mr. Timmons Senior had his accident. I just want, could you go and have a look at that for me? Just do me a little favour while I go speak to Mrs. Timmons, maybe in the kitchen while we go make another cup of tea.
Yeah, I'll go check it out.
Okay, so at the mention of his name, the door opens and Jarvis appears. So, well, if you'd like to step this way, gentlemen, Mr. Maxwell and Mr. Dill.
He follows, looks behind, and nods to Thomas as he heads out.
So
Dill winks at the lady as he leaves the room.
He gets Dill slap in the head and was like,
Rein it
and
in.
it kind of flushes a little, gets a little bit flushed and looks a bit embarrassed and perhaps a little bit awkward, don't know where to look.
The woman's a widow, Chris. Dill.
An elderly widow.
An elderly
That's what he
widow.
calls him, the widowmaker.
67 she is, I should have mentioned that. Well, I'm sure you can tell from a picture. But yeah, so Jarvis Jarvis closed the door and says, so gentlemen, how can I help you?
Well, I'd really like to know, is there anywhere around here maybe where there might be things just like you don't want people to find, like the stuff I would have been delivering, because it doesn't sound like Brian's gonna need it anymore.
he's like, I'm gonna recoup some of my property.
Pretty
much.
Well, I wouldn't know. I wouldn't know, sir. Perhaps you would like to, perhaps his room. If I don't recall seeing anything untoward, but you're more than welcome to check.
Did he ever tell you not to go somewhere?
Not I recall, sir. No.
Okay.
Yeah, he looks at Dill and he's like just shaking his he puts his hand on Jarvis. It's like, hey Jarvis, with the unfortunate accident of Uncle Reggie, was anything strange happening with him when he was before the time he fell over the balcony? Was he acting like out of the ordinary than he normally was? Like, did him and Brian have a conversation or anything like that? They might have a fight or something about something that that Uncle Aunt Maggie didn't know about.
You can make a persuade roll, a persuade or a charm roll. It's up to you which. And I will let you have a bonus dice since you're quite close to the family.
He's not much of the charmer, but my charm is a little better than that. So,
charm or persuade is fine, if that's any help.
Okay.
Can he use my charm?
Alright, so what would I do with this one? I just add a bonus dice?
Yeah.
Like a +1? Okay.
Yeah. Oh, that.
Yeah. It is.
I mean, you can push it if you want, but if you push it and you fail, then that will be like a fumble, where something bad will happen. So you may be going to.
No, it's he's not. He's never been the charming kind of guy. He's been more the kind of like, like I wouldn't say rough and tumble, but he's been more the more kind of physical type of guy. Dale's been that kind of guy. Richie's, like Brian's been probably more to that than him, but he's just trying to ask as like concern in like they might have been in like a fight because with Brian the way he was because that might have been Uncle Reggie be like the way he's been acting or what it is has been more an embarrassment to the family. They might have had a fight or something, and he just trying to figure this out because he's seen stuff like this before. Like if guys go through a certain way, he just is trying to figure out this if something like that might have happened.
Okay, so I will allow you both a psychology roll again on Jarvis then.
Phil, move the portrait of the lady down the screen a little bit, because just the way I've got my overlay, she's cut off at the top.
Okay.
A little bit more.
A little bit more.
Yeah. Perfect.
Oh. What am I rolling again? Sorry.
Psychology.
Psychology. I wanted to try and save Maxwell there by trying to ask what he was gonna do, but no.
How do you mean?
Like I was gonna swoop in with my charm and be like, well, what my esteemed associate was trying to say but can't verbalize because he hasn't had a morning coffee is we want to go to the incident and where it happened.
Fair enough. Go on.
And then I would roll.
Yeah. So, okay, cool. Right. So yeah, he well, if you'll follow me, gentlemen, we will have to be discreet because this is also Mrs. Timmons' private chambers as well. So I would expect you to show some discretion and decorum.
Of course, Travis, you know how I am.
So
Yeah.
Except Dale, you keep your hands to yourself.
So he escorts you upstairs and to the sort of west wing of the house, where the master bedroom is, and opens the door and leads you across this this expensively decorated room. But yeah, clearly the room of like an elderly couple, and across to these like French windows that open out onto this wide balcony overlooking the grounds and looking out towards the woods that surround the property. And he there's like a lump in Jarvis's throat, and his voice wavers a little bit as he kind of rests his hands on the railings of the balcony and peers over and points and says, down there is where I found Mr. Timmons. And says, it's such a tragedy. There was something that I've not been able to bring myself to tell Mrs. Timmons, and I'm not sure what to make of it myself, to be honest. But when I drove Mr. Timmons out to the farmhouse in Woonsocket, as Mrs. Timmons informed you, I remained in the car, and Mr. Timmons went up to the house, and he was stood on the porch. I saw him about to knock on the door, but then it was as if he'd leaned in, as if he was listening to something, and he stood there like that for a moment, and then suddenly turned and left the porch and marched back towards the car. And he got back into the car, sat in the back seat without a word. I glanced in the mirror, and the look on his face, I don't know what he overheard, but when he sat down in the back seat, his face was just ashen grey, and the look of shock was clear upon his face. But he never he never divulged what it was, and it wasn't my place, of course, to inquire.
Do you have a journal or something that he might have kept his thoughts in?
Oh no, no, Mr. Timmons was not was not that kind of person. No.
Bill would like to kind of go over and get to the edge and kind of like teeter, looking over, kind of being like, could you die from falling down here?
So yeah, you could certainly if you fell off there. I mean, it's a second story balcony, so if you fell off here, you could easily badly injure yourself. But as you know, Mr. Timmons was like a semi-invalid and quite frail, so a fall from here would probably quite easily kill him. But it does look a bit hard to have fought, for even Mr. Timmons with his stick to have fallen from this balcony. You're not quite sure how he would have managed it.
Is it like blatantly like a wall, like a walled kind of like waist shoulder kind of height?
It's kind of raw iron railing, but it does come to like just below chest height. So
and it's like not just a bar, it's
it's like it's sort of like vertical post. So yeah, and a really ornate raw iron railing. But yeah, you'd even to lean, if you leaned quite far out, it'd still be hard to like topple over the edge.
Like you'd have to climb over.
Well, possibly, or pushed.
What height was old man?
Probably about average, about 5'6". So anyway, we'll switch back to the morning room where Thomas is with Mrs. Timmons.
I light a cigar, by the way, because I brought them for Brian. But
yeah, so Jarvis comes over and immediately takes it, snatches it from your mouth in a genteel way. Says, "Oh no, not in the house, please, sir."
we're on the veranda porch.
Out in the balcony.
So he stubs it out and then hands it back to you. But yes, so you are in the day room with Mrs. Timmons.
Okay.
So what is it I can do to assist you?
Well,
Is there anything I can possibly say to that would make that would help?
Well, Mrs. Timmons, you know me. I'm a family man, and it just concerns me, this thing with your son so much. How he could have no regard for his father like that, and I just feel like when my colleagues were here, I just feel like there was something you weren't telling me, and I just wanted to get you alone, just so that you can, you know me. I'm a trusted police official, but I'm your friend. I'm a friend of the family as well, and I felt like if me and you were alone, that maybe you could tell me that little thing that's on the tip of your tongue that you just don't want to say in front of the other gents.
Okay, right. You can see like there's like something going on, and you can see her really is sort of like she's really torn about something, and you can make it's up to you. You can make a charm or a persuade roll, but you kind of have a bonus dice with that.
My charm and persuade I don't think are great. It's my intimidate that I did good.
Yeah, I don't want to intimidate.
Charm is 15. Persuade is 10. Yes, it's charm then. Did you say I'm getting a bonus dice?
You can have a bonus dice for your argument to forget.
Okay. Because I'm just such a great role player, I mean. Still a fail.
So it's up to you. You can push it. You can spend luck. It's up to you. Or you can just leave it.
I'm gonna have to... I don't know. This seems like a very important bit of information. Like, I maybe will use... it's 31 luck. Screw it, it's one shot.
It is a one shot.
And
yeah.
I feel like this is an important bit of information, and we're not going to solve the case if I don't do it.
You don't want to play too cautious on a one shot.
Push the roll. Oh, I didn't mean to push it.
Oh yeah, but you did it.
Yes! I accidentally pushed it, but I meant to do that.
yeah, you're meant.
I meant to press the use 31 luck, and I've pushed it and succeeded.
Yeah, you might be thankful of that later. Anyway, so okay, so yeah, you can see she's clearly torn, and then she just bursts into tears.
Thomas.
Oh, Mr. Clayton, Thomas. It's terrible. I don't know if I'll ever come to terms with it. But this trouble with the police, nothing was ever proved. There was no clear evidence, but he was arrested in connection with a grave robbery.
I can see why you would be embarrassed to say that in front of people. That was the final straw. That's what drove me to finalise the commitment papers. I mean, if your son had been robbing graves, then he should be committed. But you said he was proved innocent, or
there wasn't enough evidence.
Was not enough evidence.
I know in my heart that he was responsible.
You do. Was it somebody significant's grave?
So she kind of she sobs a little bit and pulls a handkerchief from her sleeve and dries her eyes, and she, without a word, she gets to her feet and goes over to the dresser, opens one of the drawers and goes through some papers or something, and you see her shoulders sag, and she sighs, seems to be like reconsidering for a moment, and then she turns and hands you this folded piece of newspaper. She says, I don't know why I kept it.
Okay, I will read the paper.
Okay.
Oh, can you move it left a bit?
I can move it left a bit, yeah. So, it says, grave robber strikes cemetery. Pre-colonial grave opened. Authorities at a loss. Wound socket. The police report few leads concern the mysterious grave robbing at our Grace Cemetery last night. The desecrated grave was located in one of the oldest parts of the cemetery. The pre-revolutionary headstone was so worn that identification of the grave has been deemed impossible. Due to the fact that few burial records from that time remain, the police have been unable to identify the missing body.
Well, so the body was actually exhumed.
Yeah.
And never found again, so the body is still missing and unidentified. The police never found the body.
Pre-colonial.
So she almost, so Mrs. Timmons, she almost, after handing this to her, she almost collapses into a chair. Seems overcome, and she looks, her eyelids flutter, and she appears to almost like faint.
I'll catch her before she falls back, and if she doesn't immediately
roll charm.
If she doesn't immediately wake up from her faint, I'll like lay her gently into the chair or whatever she's in, so she doesn't bang her head or whatever.
She's not like unconscious, but she's like clearly distressed.
It's okay. Just take it easy. It's a lot to process.
It's just maybe if you were to speak to Brian.
Perhaps we will have to speak to Brian. I think what me and my associates are going to do first is perhaps go and see the house where he was staying with this Baines chap. How far away is it? This Woundsocket?
So Woundsocket is a few hours away from, maybe a couple of hours outside of Providence.
I think perhaps me and my companions are going to have a look around that place. Just to see. You've never been out there yourself, have you, Mrs. Timmons? You say that the late Mr. Timmons.
He did.
He went out there, but he never discussed. Yeah. He never ever discussed what occurred.
He deferred not to discuss what happened.
And how long? This was only a couple of months before his accident.
This was about 3 weeks.
Only
before.
3 weeks before his accident.
Yeah.
And how was your late husband's behaviour in those 3 weeks? Was it different? Besides from the fact that he wouldn't talk about what occurred.
It was more. I would say, was more upset and concerned over Brian's well-being, but as I say, he refused to go in. He refused to discuss talk about it, refused to discuss why that was.
And he never suggested a second visit.
No. I believe he may have written to Brian, but
No response.
I don't know. Not that I'm aware of. I've certainly never seen a letter. As I say, I'm not sure. I'm not sure if he actually did. I know he had spoke about with the intention of writing a letter.
And your times when you visited your son at the asylum, what's his demeanour been like? Is he mad as a brush?
As I say, he's been heavily sedated. He's confused and it's not the Brian that I remember.
Does he still have this obsession with researching his family tree?
Not really. He's angry. He's angry at me for putting him there. As I say, I can't bear to go there anymore. I've only been there on 2 occasions. I just want this matter resolved. I want Brian to be well and to come home.
Mrs. Timmons, I want Brian to be well and to come home to you well too, and me and my friends are going to do what we can to make sure that happens for you, okay? I promise you everything I can do in my power, and that's in my official police power. And you see that I've got at least one of the men that's with me operates outside of the law. We're covering all bases here.
You're my last hope. But if you'll excuse me, this has all been rather distressing. My constitution is not what it used to be. Unless there's anything urgent, I feel I will retire.
No, please.
For now.
Please do.
She pulls a like cord to like ring. You can hear a bell ringing in the house, and you two hear this bell ringing. And Jarvis says, "Well, gentlemen, Miss Timmons is calling. If you will, please, we need to leave this room unless there's anything urgent you need to."
Yeah, just while I'm up here, can you take me to Brian's room?
Of course.
Or just give me the directions and I can find my way there. It's fine if that's
so
all
he
right.
escorts you out of Mrs. Timmons, out of the master bedroom, and he points you in the direction of Brian's room, which is back over on the east wing. And then he goes downstairs, and you see him getting Mrs. Timmons from the room, and he escorts her to probably upstairs actually. So yeah, you can go to you can head over to Brian's room if you wish, or what do you want to do?
Scooby-Doo wasn't invented, so I can't use that line.
Well, I don't know when the Dick Tracy comics were about, but I think they might have been around that time. Maybe
I think it's
later
kind
on.
of 30s Dick Tracy.
I think
I
it
could be
might
wrong.
be, yeah.
Yeah.
I think
Yeah,
it.
fuck it. Dill Swole said it first. I think we should split up and search for clues.
Go check that out. I'm gonna go talk with Thomas and see if he maybe talked to Aunt Maggie about anything, and I'm let him know what was going on too. So
Yeah, I'm really gonna go and check Brian's room.
Okay.
And I go to Brian's room.
Radio.
and to see what he can pocket. Yeah. So I head downstairs, probably with Jarvis.
Okay. So yeah, you go. So Dill, you head over to Brian's room, which kind of like sits on its own, like I say, on the east wings, right on the corner of the house. It's quite a nondescript room compared to the rest of the house. There's not much. It's not very flamboyant or extravagant. It's quite the decorations in there, quite plain. Quite a nice. It's plain but quite a nice room, and there's a window that looks out over the grounds. There's no balcony on this outside this window though, and there's a bed, a chest of drawers, a bookshelf, and a wardrobe, and that's about it.
when I come into the room, I'm tapping my feet on the floor, looking for little loose boards, and then I'm gonna look under the bed, check and see if there's anything maybe hidden or stashed there, and root through the chest or drawers. Did I find anything in any of those locations?
So what kind of thing did you used to did Brian used to buy from you?
Cigars, some booze, books with pictures.
Those kind of pictures. Okay, so let's say that you find an old creaky loose floorboard by the sort of between the head of the bed and the bedside cabinet, and beneath there you do indeed find a battered old Cuban cigar box with a handful of cigars in there. They have gone a bit stale, a bit dry, and there's one of those like lewd books that you in fact it's the last you clearly remember this one. It's the last one he had you buy for him or bought from you.
Oh man, just as dusty as these ladies in these mags, but someone will buy them. They don't know the difference.
I would say there's probably maybe about $5 in $1 bills tucked in there as well.
Oh God, that's my inventory.
So if you want to add stuff to your inventory, you see the little padlock on your character sheet. Yeah, so if you click on that, it'll unlock the padlock, and then you can go into the gear tab, and there's a button that lets you add items, so you can custom create like little items to want. If you want to add them to your actual character sheet, or whether you want to just make a note on a piece of paper, it's up to you. Either way, it's up to you. It's probably easier. Yeah. See, but you can also, while you're doing that, you can also make a spot hidden roll.
I forgot that was a mechanic.
Nice roll, though.
Wow. Okay, so while you're knelt down, like sort of retrieving this cigar box, you like I say, it's quite. You just happen to glance to the side where the bookshelf is. It's kind of one of these small bookshelves. You know, it's only comes to about maybe just above waist height with about three shelves on, and it's jammed with like mainly historical books on local history and things like that, and things about genealogy. Nothing really out of the ordinary, but there's one thing that does catch your eye, because it does kind of stand out. Purely for the fact that all the others, you know, on the spines of the book, you can see, or the books, you can see the titles, or at least some demarcation on the spines of the book. But there's a slim black leather volume that has got no markings on the spine at all. That, like I say, it just makes it stand out from the rest.
Reach for the book with a quiver in hand. Pull it towards.
Okay.
I have a look at the front.
Okay, so you pull it out and look at the front. It looks quite old. And even the cover, there's no title embossed on the cover either.
Better go show this to the guys. I never learned how to read. I might be able to fly a plane or a chopper, but this ain't in my ballpark, baby.
Okay. So what are you gonna do? Just secrete it along with your cigar box somewhere?
Yeah, it's in the raincoat. It's in the raincoat.
These unnaturally deep pockets that you've got sewn inside your coat.
Yep, special pocket. It's like you know, the 5x5 pocket.
See if it becomes very important, right? We need to remember that I have that Ludi mag, because what we're gonna do is a Back to the Future. where we put the sports almanac inside.
Okay, so meanwhile, yeah, Maxwell, you go downstairs, maybe passing Mrs. Timmons as Jarvis helps her upstairs, and rejoin Thomas.
He looks at Aunt Maggie, and he kind of gives her a smile and looks. I hope she feels better. And he walks over to Thomas, and he's like, kind of like looking like, for a second to make sure they're at a hearing distance. He wants to say, she say anything as he comes to sit down near you?
So I think we need to go out to the house where he was living. She told me a little something about and we can talk about it on the drive out. I think we're going to go investigate the farmhouse out at Woonsocket, and maybe something else out there at Woonsocket. It was something that happened out there at Woonsocket. She was telling me about. So basically, Brian was accused of grave robbing out there in Woonsocket, and well, someone did rob a grave. The body was exhumed, was never found, and there was not enough evidence to charge anyone. But Mrs. Timmons is convinced it was her son Brian. Now,
that's Brian, by the way.
Okay, so all this talk of the family tree, he's obsessed with the family tree, and then he goes and lives with this guy out in a farm in Woonsocket, and then he's digging graves in Woonsocket. What's he looking for? Is that his ancestor he's digging up, and what is he after? What? Sorry, I'm thinking out loud here, Maxwell. We need to get your we need to get your
Well,
your
it's like,
thoughts on this.
he smiles and he pats. He's like, well, I'm not, like the family detective, but I've like some of the stories and some of the stuff you told me about, like cases and stuff, that he actually had a buddy of his who was in the military that became an MP and kind of went over into the military, like into the civilian policing. And he's like, some of his thoughts was, it's like, well, we were talking to Jarvis upstairs, and especially, Dale wanted to see where Uncle Reggie basically, fell from upstairs, supposedly. And his mind was, it's like, since you have connections up here, did you maybe can see what kind of records is like, did he really fall, like, from that one? Like, fall from,
What do you think?
from the height.
You saw the balcony. What do you think of that?
Well, depending on how old he is, it's like, it's like, I actually have some training in first aid, so he knows some knowledge of, like, not the human body, but some of it, because of first aid. And, he says, like, he wouldn't know if Uncle Reggie would die from such a fall, but it's like, I don't know if you can talk to a coroner from up there to see if they have any records, if they did a proper check of the body, if there was any bruises or anything, like somebody pushed him, because older gentlemen, you notice.
Would an old frail man be able to fall from a high balcony? Wouldn't he have to get himself over it?
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking. If somebody threw him over and stuff like that,
or he's thrown himself over. I mean,
Yeah.
he's willfully taken himself over it. Maybe. I don't think he could accidentally fall from there.
So did she say anything about if this gentleman had a first name that this guy he was staying with at the farmhouse? Is that all we have?
Yeah,
on
just
him?
Mr. Beans. Yeah, Mr. Beans. Ooh.
Is any chance you can call up maybe the local, like the police department or something that's here around that town to actually have like a description of this guy, maybe a name, if
Well,
people seen him around there?
I think we're going to head up to Woonsocket. I can maybe talk to the local police chief there.
I'm on my way out as soon as you guys started talking, just so that you just don't need to repeat everything that you've said.
Yeah, that's no problem.
Okay.
Yeah, that's fine. And it's like, it's like we can always check out Brian, like if we can always take a detour if we're heading up that way, give a quick talk to Brian and see if we can at least talk to him somehow if he's not completely He's not gonna say insane, but completely out of his mind.
Think we
Maybe.
should.
Hey, Maxwell, you knew Brian the best, right?
Yeah. Like we grew up pretty close. Yeah.
Did you ever see this book? And I hand you.
He looks at the book and he's kind of like, so it's like a dark leather, and he's kind of looking it over, and he's like, he's reading. He's reading. He can read and write, and he's read a couple books, and he's like, and he kind of opens up and he checks out like the pages and see what it looks like.
So inside is so there's a title printed on the inside, and it is called. Actually, let me just get the proper one up. It is called Thaumaturgical Prodigies in the New England Canon by Reverend Ward Phillips, and it was published in. Let me just double check, so it's not got the date on there, but I have got the date somewhere.
What, 18 something, or maybe earlier.
Oh, there we are. It's 1 second. I believe. It was published in 1788.
What is thaumaturgy? It's a word that I see and I don't know what thaumaturgy is.
So it's magical practices, basically.
Yeah. Good.
Yeah.
So this book, I mean, it's probably taken in a wide sense considering this book. So just flicking through it, it's basically about witch trials and witchcraft practices. People accused of witchcraft in New England.
Like Salem witch trials and stuff
Yeah,
like that.
yeah. So it
Which is
mentions
more
things like.
probably known.
Yeah, so it mentions places like Salem and all that kind of thing.
Salem's
it's
Massachusetts,
like-
right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Lovecraft country.
So it's it's an old like manual press. Obviously been done in an old manual printing press. And it is illustrated in places with but with like woodcut printing. If you know what woodcuts are. So the pictures are kind of, have got that kind of woodcut stylized look to them. But you're flicking through it, and maybe as you, so are you heading back out to the car now, or?
I look at everybody else. It's like we could probably head out, but what I wanted to know is there anything like particular, like if there's certain about the book that there's like anything that's written in there. Or like if there's something like really been like a page has been folded
Highlighted.
or something that looks like it's
Yeah,
been
so
read before.
you can certainly have a look at that. I mean, obviously it'll take not a massive amount of time, but it'll take a while. You have to spend a while looking it over.
Yeah, so he does. It's like,
Do you think we should head out to the asylum and see him first to see what he's saying before we go investigating the house and the grave?
well, it probably I would say probably talk to him first, and it's like Dale's always can talk to him to some things, and with your detective skills you can probably figure out some stuff. But it's like I need to say this book right here would be interesting, especially if I find something right there. He might give us a better clue why he was out there.
Maybe you can have a read at that on the way out to the because
Yeah.
it's out of state the asylum. We're looking at quite a long drive, aren't we? Did you say
I
that?
can maybe get us there a bit quicker.
Wait, no, I don't think he said it was out of state. He said it was outside the town.
Yeah,
Sorry.
so it's outside of Providence.
It's outside of Providence.
It's just north of the city.
So we could drive there. Is it closer than Moonsocket?
Yeah.
So it makes more sense to go there first.
Would we not be better taking the train?
I've got the car. I've got.
Yeah, car would be a little better.
So I'm a police detective. So let's say I've got a police undercover car. So I've got a decent car. Is that like am I taking liberties, Phil, or?
No, you probably have a plain car being detective, yeah. And it might be anyway. You might be off duty at the moment. I mean, this is you're not on official. You're not here.
No, I'm not here on official business, but I would say that I have an undercover police car, and it's.
Oh, you probably have your own personal car anyway.
Yeah, I probably have my own personal car, but I'd probably use the undercover police car more because
you'll not be able to use that when you're off duty.
No, all right, okay.
No.
Okay, so we're in my personal car.
I want to grab Maxwell, and I'm gonna say to him, I want to hear more about the witches and the things and the magic stuff from that book, because my friend, he told me once that they weigh the same as a duck, then they were a witch, so they killed them because ducks float on water and wood burns and wood also floats on water, and witches also burn, which means that they're the same as a duck.
He looks at you. It's like, Dale, quit drinking all that damn whiskey. And gets into the car. But no, as he gets in, he basically reaches over. Like,
Easter egg there.
Yeah. He sits in the back, and he like reaches over to Thomas right there. It's like, hey, when we head to the asylum, can you give a call to the station out here or whoever can check on Uncle Reggie's body and stuff, and then get the information more about what happened with Reggie getting in trouble with the local, I guess. Because, he did get in trouble with the police.
It was Woodsockets when he got in trouble with the police. That was the grave robbing thing.
Yeah.
So we're going to check that
out. That was dealt by so that was dealt with by the
So I think we go and see him at this island, see what he's saying. Then we go to Woonsocket, see what the police there are saying. We go and see the house where he was staying, and we go and see this grave that he robbed. That's my plan of action.
Well, I say still get some information from Uncle Reggie. That's still a little...
Yeah, that will be Providence Police.
Yeah, so that's what I'm saying. He can give the Providence Police at least a little something.
Yeah, so we on the way out, I guess that's the first stop then, is Providence Police, is my local boys, and I go and look at the file for the accident for Mr. Timmons.
Okay, so as you're heading out the front door to get into the car and head off, the Jarvis appears at the door and says, "Oh, before you leave, gentlemen, Mrs. Timmons asked me that I should give you this," and he hands you a sealed envelope that's addressed to the director of Holmes Sanatorium.
I'll take it from her.
This should get you allow you access to see Brian.
Thank you, Jarvis.
Master Timmons, rather. Okay, so yeah, you head off, leaving the mansion, the Timmons mansion behind. Where are you heading first?
To the local police. To my
you
office.
can be like, yeah. Okay, so do you want to be looking over this book while you're traveling, while you're driving?
Yeah,
Probably maybe about half an hour drive, maybe.
Yeah, he looks over this one. And it's like, if he has any questions or something, he will like mentally note it that just like that,
fucking reading me that book. You're sat in the back of the car and you're reading it to me.
No, he just is like, I think it might blow your mind, Dale. Don't worry about it. And he just kind of just reads through it.
Okay, so it is a bit hard to read because the English, it's like old English, so it's really archaic English. So it's a struggle to understand it. So just flicking through it, you pick out some words and things. The details of it elude you without any detailed examination of it. But like I say, it appears to, the general gist of it is about various the practices of witchcraft in New England and the various witch trials. Mainly it mainly seems to speak about Salem. But like I say, it's hard to read it. The like old English, this old archaic English. It's really hard. It'll take quite some time if you wanted to sit. It's you could sit down and study it, but it would take a considerable amount of time.
I'm really good at English. Can I give it a?
You could, but it'll literally.
You said you can't read and write.
But for some reason, I'm really good at English.
Speaking,
I mean, it's your native language.
So to skim it would take a few hours, and you get some basic information from it. To study it properly, like I said, because it's so old in the archaic language and because of the way it's written, it would take upward of 8 weeks to fully understand it. But
Can we say it's because I'm really archaic and that's why I can understand it better?
you can skim through it in a few hours and get a basic understanding of it, if you want to do that. But to fully understand it, it would to fully understand it is beyond the scope of this this scenario, to be honest. But there is one thing of interest that like leaps out the pages, not literally but almost. So when you're flicking through it, like I say, it's illustrated with these woodcuts every so often. Not there's not loads of them, but the center, you get to the center of the book, and you just stop dead as you see this woodcut, of a person, like a woodcut portrait. Just a minute. And this woodcut of this unnamed person from sometime in the 1700s is almost a spitting image of Brian.
Is there a name under it, or at least
No.
like some?
Oh yes, sorry, there is indeed. It says D. Timmons.
Huh. No, he kind of looks like he looks at Dill, and he like and he's like there looks like a guy in here that looks like Brian. His name is is it D. Timmons?
Yeah, there's no first name, it just says D, initial D, and Timmons.
D. Timmons.
I think you just need to clean your glasses, maybe, because that could be a B or a D. We just don't know, or it might have just fell out.
So that's already playing into my suspicion that he's gotten obsessed with somebody in his family history, and I think he's been trying to dig up somebody from his family history.
Well, and you told us about that, him. Did you tell us about him being in trouble with the grave robbing? Supposedly?
Yeah, I did.
Okay. So, all right. So he looks at this.
We'll talk about,
Thomas.
if I didn't, we would discuss it now anyway on this car ride.
So, and he's thinking, so maybe the body he might think it might be the body of this guy that he might have buried up,
or this guy, or it's somebody related to something something from the same time period of this guy. Maybe this guy in the book is what's gotten him obsessed with. He started with his family tree, and that's a normal thing. But then he's found this guy, and he's gotten obsessed with this guy, this D. Timmons, maybe.
Like I say, it's obviously because it's a woodcut. It's not like a photo. It's kind of stylized, but despite that, it's the resemblance between this person and Brian is clear. It's a clear resemblance.
Pre-revolutionary does that match up with time periods of witch trials?
Yeah.
Okay.
and so in the location, I'm not the historian, Brian is, but isn't the location of where his farmhouse was, and the grave that got robbed, was there supposedly might have been witch trials out in that area, maybe?
Well, you don't know whether there's any mention of anything like that in this book is another thing. Like I say, that'll take you'll have to spend some time reading it. It's like you can skim through it, maybe get a few hours.
Yeah, I mean skim and look for keywords like wooden socket and providence.
So a few hours would allow you to skim through it and maybe see if there's any information in there.
What's your library use like?
Mine's is alright, I think, actually. Hang on one sec. I'm driving. I'm driving, but...
You're driving. You can't do
It's not a library, though, anyway.
No, it'd be read English.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, his thought is like, especially if we're going to an asylum, but there are more learned people there, so he might always he's thinking about like maybe we can talk to a doctor or somebody who is fairly knowledgeable there that might actually have a better chance of looking at this book for us than we could.
You want to talk to a doctor about a book about witches? You're gonna get locked up in one of them cells yourself, buddy.
Yeah. So regardless of your grasp of English, it's still to fully study, fully understand it. Is like I say, it's beyond. It's just beyond. It's beyond the scope of this.
So first up, local police then.
Yep. Okay.
In local police. Let's go.
Okay. So since Thomas is is resident at this. Are you resident? Yeah, you are. Aren't you?
Yeah, resident
So
here.
yeah,
I'm a policeman here.
we can hand wave a lot of this. So yeah, it doesn't take you long talking to the people to talk to, and nobody really questions why you're looking for this information. But yeah, you find the police report and the coroner's report relating to Mr. Timmons' death, and it's listed as an accidental death, fallen from this balcony. The coroner's report doesn't present any evidence to the contrary. He died of aggravated injuries due to the frailty of his body, so due to his invalidity, and he's already quite. He's an old man anyway. He's in his 70s.
Yeah, good. He broke a few arms and legs, and the shock killed him, basically.
Yeah, and he fell 20 feet.
Aye, so
Yeah,
he broke his legs and died of shock.
So yeah, he fell 20 feet. So yeah, like multiple fractures, concussion. Died almost instantly. Died instantly. It says.
Yeah. A 60-year-old man takes a 2-story fall. It's going to kill them, even if they land on their feet.
It's still like
I'm not sure if that was an accident. I'm not so inclined to think that maybe he was pushed. I think he's maybe heard something. Remember Jarvis? Jarvis said that he just leant in and whispered and overheard something. Something's going on in his head. He's not talked about it to his wife, and then he's fallen from a balcony 3 weeks later. Something drove him mad, maybe.
Yeah, there was something that Jarvis did tell us. Like, when me and Dale went upstairs, that they went to go see Brian once at the farm, and Mr. Uncle Reggie went up there to go talk to him, but I guess he might have overheard something and just literally just left, and he just looked like really pale or something, that he might have heard something, or maybe seen something that he maybe couldn't see or understand what was going on.
And maybe that thing that he overheard just drove him crazy for 3 weeks, and he couldn't take it any longer, and he's killed himself. I don't think that old man fell from that balcony.
That old man couldn't fall from that balcony if he tried. I'm telling you now, I put my hands on that railing and leant over it, and I felt secure.
You don't think he could even have jumped deliberately?
I'm not quite sure.
Well, I mean, my thought is like, he's like, it's like, he looks over to Thomas, is like, Thomas, you've probably seen some murder cases and stuff like that. Especially you see like older folks is like, when their body gets to a certain age, they start getting like, like easier getting handprints or get bruises and stuff pretty easier than other people that he's seen. And he's just wondering if there was like, any recent bruises or something, like maybe it looked like somebody grabbed his hand, arm pretty well.
Yeah, so there's no reports on that in the coroner's report though. Yeah, an old person does bruise like a peach because the skin's thinner, I believe. I'm no doctor, but I think it's something to do with that.
I think I might have a hunch.
If somebody had put their hands on him to throw him, bruises would show in the coroner's report, I think.
What if... Now, hear me out. I know this guy who did a little bit of fraud one time. and it meant about getting away of someone in his family who was pretty important, but it meant he could get a lot of money. And it's a bit suspicious that someone didn't turn up to a funeral for their father. And yeah, now he's put away somewhere by someone else. There's something going on here, and I don't like it. You can't con a conman.
I think Aunt Maggie had Brian committed that she got like the insurance money, if there was insurance money at this time, from or inherited whatever Uncle Reggie might have had and went to her. You're not thinking that, are you?
I don't think insurance.
We don't know.
Would be a thing in the 20s. Life insurance.
Oh yeah, yeah, life insurance, yeah.
Yeah.
All I know is that
scams.
all I know is that woman was very easy to tempt to get in a room alone with him and get rid of us and split us all up so we didn't hear what he was getting told, as if they were going to have some secret rendezvous, split us up into tiny little fragments. I'm not so sure anyone's telling us the whole story.
She didn't originally want to tell you guys the whole story. That's why I had to take her away, because I knew there was something she was holding back. The detective and me picked it up. It was just one of the classic tales. It was a twitch, a classic tale, easy to spot. And yeah, she wasn't going to even tell you boys about the grave robbing. She was just going to tell you that he was mad and she had him committed. But
and do you remember the guy? Do you remember the guy who came in from the golf club? And he was in drinking with us at the bar, and he said about he knew a guy from the golf club who his wife was sleeping with the butler. That could be another reason they could be in on it together, and that's why they don't want us knowing the things and the stuff.
Do you think Jesus is at it? Do you think maybe they're at it, the two of them?
We don't know. That's why we need to follow some kind of line of conclusion.
If she's having an affair with the butler, then yeah, that gives her a reason to kill the husband. But that doesn't give the son that's not what drove the son mad, is it?
But maybe he's the one in the will, not
her, and that's why
mother.
she's got him locked up.
What about the letter?
We don't know these things.
You might be onto something now.
We need to find this out. We need to be more specific about what people are telling us in this information.
All right. Well, like I said, Dale, I understand that one. But what about this letter he pulled out of his coat? Right there. She did give this to the, I guess, a head doctor or whatever. Do you think we should check this over before we turn it over to him?
It was sealed.
We should definitely read it.
I actually gave it over to Thomas. Like, well, you're in the military. You're police. You have good concern as in case you need to look it over.
Is it wax sealed?
No.
How is it? Oh, like just on a modern envelope sealed in.
Yeah, it's just lick it and yeah.
As the police detective, I know how you can open one of those and close it again so that somebody doesn't know, right? Like that's
I know how to break the law.
That's got to be school. That's got to be schoolboy shit, right?
You can make a look roll if you want to open it without.
Fair. Alright, let's go.
We could just get another envelope and just put it in it.
We could.
Ooh, a 10.
I've rolled extreme success.
Yeah,
in my
so
luck.
it's only ever so slightly, like stuck down. It's yeah. So
That's the most ridiculous rules. Open an envelope carefully.
I've got extreme success, mate.
Yeah, so it wasn't to see if you open it carefully. It was more to see if it was how well it was sealed.
Yeah.
If it was how well it was sealed. So yeah, it's just it's not. It's just maybe one little spot, so you can easily just pop it open.
Okay.
Without damaging visibly anyway.
Well, I'll hand it over to Maxwell because I need to quickly grab the wheel again because I'm driving. No, I'm not driving. We went to the police department, didn't we?
Yeah.
Yeah, we're at
This letter inside is a formal typed letter that is signed by Mrs. Timmons to the director of the hospital, and it is just what Jarvis said it is. It's a letter of introduction, a letter officially allowing you access to Brian, because without something like this, you wouldn't be able to get access to see him.
Does she have like a power of attorney situation over our son now because he's locked up?
Well, yeah, because he's in an asylum, so he'll be deemed unfit.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, it's quite, it's just a formal letter saying that you're mentioning you all by name, saying that she's granting you access.
You need to see the will, I think. Chris, you're onto something, I think. I don't know, it could be totally unrelated, but maybe she is having an affair with the butler, but I don't know if that's related to his madness. Like, why is that driving him to rob graves? How do you connect that bit? How's it driving him to rob graves?
We gotta ask the questions and maybe we'll find out.
See what he says. Aye, is that the first stop at Woonsocket? Then is him first before the house and the local police.
Yeah, I would say, we got to talk to Brian. He needs to see what's going on with him, and that. But he looks at, he goes close to Thomas and speaks in his ears, like, he opens his jacket and he shows that he actually has a revolver in his coat pocket. Didn't know if you have yourself covered. I normally keep this with me. I don't know if you have one with you.
I'm a police detective.
No, he just wanted to make sure because you're off duty. He just didn't know.
I know. He's an off-duty cop, but he's a miserable bastard. He's always got his gun on him. Like he trusts no one. He thinks people are scum. Yeah, he carries his gun around all the time.
Yeah. All right. So he's just making sure. It's like you never know, especially if we're dealing with this person that we're going to encounter. That you never know that you might have something. So he did not.
Leave that in the car when we go to the asylum, Maxwell. Of course, you don't have this, and I pull out a badge. He's a soldier, to be fair. They'll have dog tags there.
Yeah, it's like, he does, but it's one of those, it's this is like his, like, you could say his service piece that he got from the military.
Yeah.
But he always kept it with him.
Do we have open carry in the 1920s in America? Probably not, right?
Sure. Why not? Fucking let's go for it. Max, you're non-native, right? That's how we get away with it.
Okay, so Maxwell, you've got no, that's wrong character. Yeah, I'll get rid of that. No. So Thomas, you've got a 38 revolver then.
Yeah, I think so.
I mean that's standard issue apparently for police in 1920s.
45 revolver, it says on my sheet.
245.
I put that by default because I wasn't sure which gun it was, but yeah, it's apparently it's a 38.
Okay.
So it's got a 38. I'll get rid of the 45. There you go. Load it up. Boom.
It's 0.38, mean 0.3 of an inch, yeah.
I don't.
It's millimeters.
It's
9
millimeters would match 0.3 of an inch, wouldn't it?
It's the size of the hole that it makes in a target.
Is it?
Oh.
Mhm. Yeah, the bullet. So
Arrow.
If you look at a bullet, like it's only the tip of the bullet that actually protrudes, and what it leaves in a target is the thing, the number, or it might be the gauge or the power of the round that it might be the number. Depends. Sometimes I think could be totally wrong.
I know nothing about firearms.
Big news.
Okay, so what are you doing? Heading from the police station to
down.
the asylum.
Asylum next, yeah, I think so.
Yeah, is that the plan? That yep. Okay.
Da-da-da-da-da, to the asylum.
The Looneymen!
So, yeah. So the Holmes. Was it Holmes? I think that's it was Holmes.
You'll never catch us, coppers.
Yeah. So the Holmes Sanatorium is about. It's just outside. Outside Providence, and it's a large sort of man. It almost looks like an old Victorian summer mansion or a hotel. And you pull up outside the main entrance, and kind of through this, or you go up the steps and in through this kind of grand kind of entrances. Your footsteps echo off the marble flooring. There's this grand staircase. So the only thing that betrays it being a sanatorium is you see, as you're looking up to the upper floors, you can see the balconies are walled off with wire, with sort of wire mesh and and gating that seals off the access to the upper corridors, and the ground floor doors. We've got heavy locked doors leading off this main foyer, and there's a desk with a guy in a small kind of looks like an orderly or something sat behind the desk. So you give hand the letter over to him. And a few moments, maybe about 5-10 minutes later, you're greeted by a doctor. I assume it's a doctor. He introduced himself as Dr. Gonzalez, and he says he is Brian's doctor, who is overseeing his case at the moment. So gentlemen, you wanted to see? You wanted to visit the patient?
We do. We're family friends.
So I understand from this from the letter of introduction. I will need to summon some orderlies to ensure your safety.
Of course, understand that.
Why we need that? Like, would you say that this guy's violent?
Yes, Mr. Timmons is being put on the high security ward.
When was his last incident?
Just yesterday.
Did he attack staff himself, or?
He attempted to assault one of the orderlies when they were delivering food to his room.
And since the attack, has he been verbal or?
Not currently. After the assault, he was sedated again.
So you guys mostly have had him on sedation since he's got here?
Unfortunately, we've been forced to take that recourse. Yes.
Okay. And I got one last question for you. What brought you guys to actually come and take him away in the van and the jacket?
That would have been down to Mrs. Timmons. She requested the commitment papers, which she would have to have gone through the local courts.
You guys can take over.
She would have been required to put forward the case that he was not of sound mind and not capable, not responsible for his own actions.
She's upset that they want to lock him up somewhere more secure, even though he's violent. But she's the one that got him locked up. She asked for him to be locked up, and he's getting angry about being locked up, so he's getting violent. And now she's upset that they want to lock him up somewhere for violent people.
So did she say like how he was violent or anything? And did he come over to their house? And
no, so she'd never experienced him. She'd never experienced him being violent apart from when she's visiting him here. The first time she heard of a violent episode involving him was when the police and asylum staff turned up at the farmhouse to serve him the papers and to have him committed. And then he attacked one of the police officers.
Yeah, so he was never violent before he was committed. His violence is only been a response to being committed, eh?
Yeah, possibly. Yeah, that's only record of him being violent. Yeah.
I looked over at Thomas. It's like, is there a report from the officer or anything like that? What they said that he might have been saying something, or like, cause usually, I mean, like, is there like some kind of police report like when they got him and they actually had to fill out a report? He's looking at Thomas. They had to fill out a report saying like how the incident went down, what the
Yeah, so
suspect might have said, and
when
stuff.
he is violent, what kind of things is he saying? Or is it just, I expect it's just anger at being in here.
Mm.
I think
But
that's
the
the only reason
police,
he is
the
violent.
police who would have been involved with again because it's in Woonsocket, so it would have been the Woonsocket police.
Well, at least look at Thomas. That's another thing we need to look into.
Yeah, we're going to Woonsocket Police to talk to them anyway.
Hey Maxwell, you know the way that you're Brian's bestest friend? How about you go this one alone if we're going in there? Cause I ain't going near no crazy that I barely know.
That's fine. This is right there. He looks at Thomas. You want to come with us?
Don't worry about it, Dale. You'll be safe. We're here. The orderlies are. I'm here. I'm a police officer. The orderlies are here. Don't worry. You'll be
I'm
safe.
worried about these guys trying to pull a fast one on us. I don't like hospitals, and I don't like these people in these coats. So, you guys go in. I'll wait at the door. Anything goes bad, I'll let you out.
Okay.
So yeah, we go in. Yeah,
That's
I
a
guess you
serious
stay out
paranoia, Chris.
Yeah, but what it is that
No.
like as it's going on is that the book that he had is actually in his pocket. So he's kind of holding his arm on one side. That he's kind of holding his pocket under the of his arm because in case he talks to Brian, he could always open the book. It's like, hey Brian, why did you have this? Especially the location of what Brian looks like.
Yes. Good thinking, Max. But yeah, bring the book in.
Okay. So, so Dr. Gonzalez returns shortly afterwards, accompanied by two orderlies, who he instructs to take you to Brian Timmons' cell, and they lead you up the stairs through, unlocking one of this kind of metal grill door, and you're led down this long white corridor through another 2 or 3 of these security doors, and finally to the far end of the wing. And there's the one of the orderlies says, if you just stand by the far wall of the corridor, please. We just need to check on the patient. And wait while you sort of
Sure.
step back and your kind of backs against the opposite wall, the door opposite to the door. And unlocking the door, one of the attendants goes in, the other attendant stays at the door, at the open doorway, and you can see this padded cell through the door. And there's a bit of verbal check between the two attendants, the two orderlies, to confirm that the patient's secure and it's safe, and then step back out of the room. Says, "Okay, gentlemen, you can step right in. The door will remain open. If there's a problem, then we ask you to immediately step back."
Of course. Thank you.
Yeah, that's understandable. He looks at Thomas and leans in right there. It's like, hey, we'll talk over to Brian, but I'll show him this. Keep an eye on these guys behind us. But
We just need to. Sorry, go on.
Oh, sorry. He just wants to look, is the guy basically strapped down? Is he in a straitjacket or anything like that? Or is he...
So peering through the door, you can see this windowless room. All there is just this small cot that's like bolted to the floor and to the wall. There's no other furnishings, and Brian is seated on the cot with his back to the wall, his legs pulled up in front of him, and he's completely bound by this heavy-duty leather straitjacket. And you can see it's kind of his head's bowed, but you can see him watching you, through, peering up at you and watching you. So before you're allowed to enter, the orderly say, just before you go in, gentlemen, we need to We need to check you. We need to give you a quick check. Make sure you've got no items that could prove a hazard. So they basically frisk you.
Yeah, well, he doesn't need to frisk me because I'll pull open the lapel of my jacket, and then I'll also show him the badge at the same time.
Because I'm going to have to, if you want to enter the cell, I'm going to have to ask you to leave those with us, and to pat you down anything you've got. So even like any pens, anything, any kind of objects that you've got on your person, you've got to remove before you're allowed in.
Okay, I'll hand over my gun, but I'm not handing over my badge.
No, he said you can't go in. You can't go in with that. It could be potentially used as a weapon.
I'm not going to use it as a weapon, and he's not going to hurt me.
Not for you. It's for your safety, not the patient's safety.
Hey, Thomas, just give me your badge. I'll hold on to it. I ain't gonna do nothing with it.
Right, Dale can hold on to my badge and my gun.
That's perfectly fine, sir. These are the rules.
Sure. Okay. You hold on to this.
And they also say you've got to leave the book.
Yeah, he looks at Thomas and he's like, "Well, we really need this boat. Just
Then
just
you'll
long
have
enough for
to.
him."
I'm sorry, sir, but we're only following orders. If you want,
Maxwell, give me the book.
How about, just tear out the center pages?
No. So no, what it is
paper's
he's
not
doing that
working.
when he's like him, he's as Dale probably gets it. He kind of just like rather he does enough. He pulls the page out, slips out, see if he can pull out the page. As he's like, all right, fine, and he slips it in his pocket.
Give us a look roll then. I'll not make you do a sleight of hand because nobody puts anything in sleight of hand and it's terrible. You're probably going to fail. So give us a look roll. But yeah, I'm sorry, sir. It's the rules. I mean, if you want to discuss an exception, then you need to take it up with Dr. Gonzalez.
Okay, I will do luck roll?
Look, yeah, just give it a look roll.
Okay.
Right.
So what would I do? Can I just, spend a luck point to
You
reroll
can't.
that?
You can't
use luck or push a luck.
So yeah, you tear the page out, but it just takes it from you.
It's got a naked lady.
I'm sorry, sir. There's no exceptions. Unless we have a back word from the doctor, there's no exceptions. Those are the rules. It's to protect you and to protect the patient and to protect us. If you don't want to proceed, if you don't want to proceed, that's fine. That's fine. We can go back to the lobby.
No, it's fine.
He looks at Thomas.
I looks back at Maxwell. It's fine, Maxwell. Hand over the bit of paper. We'll give it to Dale. Dale can hang on to it for us. We will. We're not going to be long with Brian anyway. Don't worry. We can easily talk to him about the book. He knows the book that we're talking about if we talk about it.
Yeah. Well, he gives the orderly a look, and he nods and he walks in.
Right, the orderly just looks at you and shrugs. So those are the rules. Okay, so you walk in, and the orderly doesn't pull the door shut, but he does pull it too. So you've got some, you are allowed some privacy, but it's not pulled. It's not closed completely. So in case you need to alert them to any problems.
Just so I know, am I stood in the hallway with one or two orderlies?
Two orderlies.
Okay.
And my gun.
Yeah. So, as you go in, sort of Brian looks up.
He kind of just, leans back against the wall. He kind of looks at Thomas. Is kind of give him a nod. It's kind of more your deal, not interrogate suspects, but it's the routine kind of deal.
I was actually quite tempted to go down that line, Max, of interrogation and just give this guy the no bullshit. You're gonna fucking talk to us now, or we're gonna murder your mum. Not like that harsh, but
That's it's
I'm a policeman, not a mobster, so not quite that line, but I'm thinking maybe going down the intimidate line.
Probably like a toughened tone, kind of like you're like not forceful, but you have that tone. It's like, listen, man, we really need this
Well,
information.
no. What
You
I'm
gotta help.
thinking, I may take some bluffing, but what I'm thinking is pretend that police at Rhode Island have got him on something else. Something that I know, in fact, something I know he's into because...
So is this something you're discussing before you go in?
No, this is an idea. This is me speaking out of character, right? Sorry.
Alright, okay.
This is me discussing with Max a tactic that I might use, right? So this is out of character. Pause for a second if you don't mind. So I'm thinking of using something like his connection to Dill, where he's buying illegal things as some legal leverage to say, look, if you don't tell us the truth here, you are getting out of this asylum and you're going to Rikers or whatever, like whatever the like
Somewhere worse.
yeah, like a bad top security prison full of murderers and beasts, and you're gonna get fucked up. And I'm gonna maybe try that. But I'm asking Max, what do you think about going down that line?
I mean, if you're pretty good at intimidate, that's really good. Especially like it's like, you're like older than him. You might have been like more the rougher guy that was been with us. Like you probably maybe hang out with me and him when we were younger, and you kind of been like not a bully, but you've been more like the tougher guy, kind of like, hey, it's like he might have got in trouble, and I might have got to like tag along in you, but you're more the like like nonsense kind of guy.
Yeah, I think I'm gonna go down the we know you've got illegal pornography and alcohol, and I think I'm gonna go down that, like, listen, if you don't help us get you out of here and solve this problem with your madness and your mother and your father, if you don't give us the answers we're looking for here, then you're just gonna go somewhere a lot worse than this. I might go down that line with him.
Well, let's see if it works. He's there with you. He's just trying to help him out in any way he can.
Yeah, I'm gonna use the intimidate route, Phil.
Okay. So
Police interrogation style.
So, like I say, you enter the room, and the orderly pulls the door to, not fully closed, but pulls it to behind you, and Brian watches you as you're walking through, and just doesn't say a word. His expression doesn't change, and he just only thing he does is he raises his head and looks you both square in the eyes.
Well, Brian,
says nothing.
Got yourself in some real trouble now, haven't you?
So what might I be?
You know exactly what we've got you on everything. I'm trying to get you out of here, though. I'm a friend of your mother, Brian, and I want to get you out of here. And you need to talk. You need to give me some answers. What happened to your father?
Says, mother says he's dead.
What happened when father came to see you?
I
And
never saw my father. I haven't seen my father for years.
He looks at Thomas. It's like, I'm sure that you may have heard of a car, driven up your farmstead that you have out there. We were told you have that if somebody was there, you would be able to hear them, especially if somebody's leaving your property.
I was not aware of any kind of that contraption approach coming to the farmhouse. No.
Who's Baines?
Who are you people?
Who is Baines to you?
Who are you to come here and speak to me?
I'm a friend of your family. I'm your mother's friend. I'm the man that saved
My
your life.
mother is no friend of me.
Well,
mine.
I'm the man that saved your life a decade ago, Brian.
She's the one that put me here. Now, if you're the people to get me out of here,
Only if you
And-
talk.
we have something to talk about.
Your only hope
Yeah,
of getting out of
like-
here is to talk to me, Brian. It's your only hope
Yeah,
of ever seeing the light of day again.
Right, he turns and looks at Maxwell and says, "And what are you looking at?"
Well, I'm looking at you, especially the book that we found that had a picture of looks somebody like you from I guess UK olden times. You had hidden in your room. You care to explain that?
Don't know what you're talking about.
Yeah, it's not you're talking about that Dale found it in your secret cubby that you always hid stuff in.
You can make a psychology roll, Maxwell.
I would like, which one guy was more that kind of guy, but no, he's like, I don't know, it's like,
You can do it with a bonus dice, though, because you do know Brian, so you can. You're the closest to Brian.
Yeah, don't mention me to Brian. Brian doesn't need to know I'm here.
man, I'm trying to roll it. It didn't roll for me.
Is it unlocked? Have you unlocked the character sheet? Let's have a look.
Yeah, it should. It's like I rolled something before, and I was like,
Oh yeah, it's
clicking
because
on, like,
the sheet's unlocked. It's because the sheet's unlocked. There you go. It'll work now. It'll work now.
Still doesn't.
No.
Try refreshing your Foundry.
Alright, give me-
It should do. It should work now.
Yeah,
Max.
I'm just
Breaking sheets.
no, mine's
Can't-
usually blown
can't
up
believe-
stuff.
But it's the name you're clicking on, not the number, isn't it?
Well, what it is when I click on that one is that it's like, oh, there you go. Click on this. No, there you go. See, hopefully this rolls pretty good. 12.
You can spend
That-
you can spend luck if you want. If you click on it, it'll expand.
It'll only be 2 luck, I think.
Yeah, so if you
You
click on
guys
the,
have been rolling cuckoo caca.
Alright,
Not
I'll
me,
spend
I'm
two
rolling like a demon, mate. Thank you
luck.
very
I'll spend
much.
2 luck right there.
yes, if you
that-
click on it, it'll expand it, and there's buttons to spend the luck and stuff.
Yeah, I did that. So yeah, I spent 2 luck. So that makes it.
No, you
10.
don't just take 2 luck off your sheet, Max. See the number 12 on your roll, click it,
Okay.
and you scroll down, and it says use
There's
2 luck.
There's 4 buttons. One says push, one says spend 2 luck, one says spend 7, one spend cents. So you can just click on the spend 2 luck button. You see it?
Spend 2 luck.
In chat, not on your character sheet.
Aye, so on the
Oh,
roll
okay.
on the right hand side.
Oh,
click
okay.
click the number 12. Or click where it
Say
says
push or spend 2 luck to pass.
Yeah,
Yeah,
there you go.
There you go.
Okay.
Okay, so I forgot what I'm asking you for it now. Yeah, so there's something off. His behaviour is off. You can't put your finger on it, but there's something that is there's something not right.
Who's
It
the
does-
who's the great uncle you dug up, Brian? Who's the great uncle?
He doesn't seem in his right mind. He doesn't even seem to recognise you.
Yeah, I thought he didn't recognise me. It's weird, like
He recognized me. He said my name, so he's kind of like,
yeah, he doesn't recognise me though.
what was the body that you dug up?
No, he didn't. He didn't mention your name. He didn't mention
Oh,
anybody's
he didn't
name.
mention me. He just looked at me.
Yeah. He doesn't seem to. Yeah, there's no like look of recognition on his face at all.
Looks like he doesn't want out of here, Maxwell. Let's just leave him. Leave him at rot. He's not wanting out of here, I don't think.
I want out of here. What do
I'll
I have to do?
I'll turn round and
They
like,
say
I'll
they
bluff
say
walking
I'm
away.
insane. They just it's just my mother trying to keep me in here.
So convince us you're not. Who are you digging
What
up?
do you want? What do I? What are you talking about?
Why does a sane man dig up his relatives?
I imagine a sane man wouldn't dig up his relatives.
So you should just stay here then.
I don't understand the line of your.
Who are you
question.
digging up? And why? I wonder. We know it's someone from your family. Is it a great grandfather, great uncle? Were they burned as a witch? Were they the person that
Well-
burned the witches? We've saw the book, Brian.
Where'd you get the book from? That's the question.
We saw the book. We saw the man in the book. It's clearly your great grandfather.
Like,
Look,
what
I
is it?
don't know what this book is that you're talking about. I don't know what any of this you're talking about. I just need to get out of here. Get me out of here.
You can't get out of
help.
here until you talk to us, Brian.
Get me out of here and I can help.
Can't help you.
No idea what's happening.
Tell us what's happening and maybe we'll consider getting you out of here.
He shakes his head.
Okay, so now I'll do the thing. I'll turn around and bluff to walk away. Maxwell just wants to stay here. There's no point talking to this man.
He sighs, give a sad look to him, and he kind of nods. I think you're right.
Okay.
Walk
You.
away.
Oh, so that'd be, I know what you're trying with that. Kind of, it's not really intimidate that, is it?
It's a bluff.
A bluff? There's no bluff skill.
Yeah.
So it'd be
I mean,
persuade.
It's bluff, but it's part of my interrogation process. So, therefore, I'm going to use intimidation. I think I should get to use intimidation because it's part of the interrogation process, and the whole interrogation, the whole thing, the whole psychology of it is intimidating.
I will let you do it, but your demeanour isn't particularly intimidating, so I think you need a penalty dice on it.
Alright. Intimidate with a penalty dice. Fair? Where are you? Intimidate.
I think that's fair.
That's only 40 as well, jeez. No. Not even close.
Well, I'm saying if you're good, there was also fast talk. That's kind of deception.
No, I've got 5
Oh yeah,
in
fast talk would have been
got
close to a bluff.
I've got 5 in fast talk.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So So it almost sounds like it lasts. Just turn tail and leave. I have no need for you if you're not here to help.
Well, we're the only people that could have ever helped you. If you don't want to get out of here, if you want to rot in here and let your mother have her way, Brian, you just continue to not talk.
I'll be out. I'm not insane. I'll be out.
So
You'll see.
If you're not insane, Brian, why would your own mother lock you up? Give us the reason. Make that make sense, Brian.
You ask her.
But because we did, and you've been digging up bodies according to her, so that's her side of the story. You tell me yours. If you've not been digging up bodies and you're not insane, why are you here?
More fool you.
I mean, you're here.
He starts ranting and sort of pulling against his restraints, trying to get up from where he's like restrained on the.
Look where you are, Brian. It's more than just your mother that believes you're insane. If it was just your mother that thought you were insane, you wouldn't be in here.
Right. He just stares right at him and says, "Get out!" And you can make a power roll.
Ooh. Not very high power. Oh, I've got a success though.
Okay, so meanwhile, outside, you sort of Dill, you're kind of chatting with the orderlies. They're just kind of shooting, just small talk, trying to pass the time. But I'll let you make a charm roll, see if you can get on the good side of them.
Yeah.
You fucking knew I wanted to do that the whole time.
Okay. So yeah, they get to talking about Brian's so what is this guy to you?
Is that what they're saying to me?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Nothing, just sometimes he would buy some goods, he would ask me maybe to ship some things, stuff like that. I'm a pilot, so, I travel a bit and, he pays well, and sometimes, the law doesn't really like things like, cigars. And I show them the old cigars and kind of offer them to them. And that is my way of charm.
Okay, so yeah, they like this smile and thank you and take a cigar and stuff it inside the pocket of the uniform. Says, "You want my advice? Stay well clear of this. He's a fucking lunatic. So this guy's dangerous. So nobody wants to pull duty on this ward."
Yeah, I heard he attacked one of your colleagues. Like, can you describe what happened?
It's not just that. There's something wrong with this guy. He gives me the creeps. See, even the doctors don't want anything to do with him. They're trying. They're filing paperwork, try and get him shipped out of here.
That's why Gonzalez called you guys instead of taking us up.
Yeah, he doesn't want to come up here. Nobody wants to come up here. Like I said, we pull the shit shift.
Well, I tell you what, guys. If you want, you can go split for a bit. I've got a magazine here you might want to have a little look around on. And maybe we could fix that problem for you guys, if you catch my drift.
You can make a charm or a persuade roll, up to you.
Oh, we're fucking charming.
No, you're not.
Oh.
No.
So you can push it if you want. If you fail, it will be a fumble, so something bad will happen. I mean, I presume you don't want to spend that crazy amount of luck. You could spend 33 luck.
33 luck.
Ah, fuck it. Live life in the
You
wild
pushed
life.
it. You did the same as me. You accidentally pushed it.
Okay, so they glance at each other, and they seem to this unspoken sort of conversation. Unspoken words seem to pass between them. You got 5 minutes, and they take the book off you and walk around the corner, just out of sight. They don't go any further than that, but they're out of sight.
And just so the audience is aware, it is not the book that I found in Brian's office. It was the nudie book.
A nudie book from beneath the floorboards.
Just so someone doesn't write in the fucking comments, oh, but they took the book and then he used the book when he went under. Fuck off.
It's a porno magazine. It's pornography.
But at times it's like, it's like, oh, I see an ankle. Oh, I see it, like.
Yeah, it's 1920s porn. Like, whoa, there's a collarbone.
They're quite. You can actually get to quite hardcore porn into the 1920s.
Anyway, that's a different topic.
You would know, you filthy bugger.
Yeah, you'd be surprised what you could get. But anyway, so yeah.
So Dill walks into the room.
So as Dill goes to walk in the room, the door opens and Thomas walks out without saying a word and just walks off down the corridor back towards the entrance.
Thomas.
So yeah, Maxwell, you see Thomas with just like Brian just shouts at Thomas to get out, and he just turns and walks out of the room and walks away.
Looks at
and Brian looks at you and this sort of just thin smile cracks his lips.
Did he just command me? The fucker.
Thomas doesn't want his badge anymore. Brian, how are you doing, buddy, old pal? Guess what I got for you? And I reach out one of the cigars and a lighter. I don't even give him really much of a choice. I've already kind of forced it into his mouth like that uncle we don't talk about. And then light it.
Okay, it looks a little bit surprised and sort of kind of resists at first, but then he kind of almost forced to take a puff on it. His kind of brow wrinkles like a curious, and he kind of grips it in his teeth and starts puffing away on it. Says, are you one of a mind to help me out of here?
Yeah, that's exactly why I'm here. I'm here as a member of the police force, and I have the authority to let you go. So, the only thing that I need to know from you is, been into any trellises recently?
Right, so chews and moves a cigar around his mouth, trying to like move it to a spot where he can speak a bit. So what are you talking about? What's trellis? What's
So while I'm speaking to Brian, I want to kind of fumble at the locks and the things that are restraining him, kind of, so it looks to Brian as though I am loosening the straps, but really I'm not really undoing the important ones. Like, so for example, if there's like fucking 50, I'm doing off the ones that are just very, very tightening it.
okay? So you're loosening a strap that's not really, that's not going to really help him.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Unrestrained.
And I'm like, never wonder. If we went to the south there. Never wonder about any of that. I tell you now, how's about this book that I found in your room? What would happen if, say, someone was to misplace or lose or destroy this? You ever seen this?
What are you doing? Showing him the book, or?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, the book. The brown leather book that we found in the room, his room, under the floorboard.
Right, he can't.
Or, no, sorry, in the cupboard.
Yeah. So he looks at him. Says, I've never seen this book. Says, what is it?
See, somebody told me it's about witches, things like that. I'm still continuing to like struggle with the buckles that really don't do anything. And
So he leans over and he whispers into your ear and goes, just unfasten the restraints, and you can make a power roll.
Okay.
Oh shit. Oh shit.
Okay, so you stop talking, you start unfastening the restraints.
Oh no.
So it takes a moment. Probably when Brian pulls the first of his arms free from the strap on the back of his straitjacket, and he's able to pull one of his arms free. Before Maxwell, you realise what's happening, and you can see Dill is just unfastening his Brian's restraints.
Dill, what the hell are you doing?
He doesn't respond.
He walks over and it's like, he wants to pull Dill off of him.
Okay, so you can do a contested strength roll then.
Go on, Mr. Soldier.
So you both make a strength check.
Yeah, it's like mine's pretty good.
Oh yeah, Dill's failed. So unless
Well, Max, you better roll good here.
$51, yeah.
yeah, so you grab hold of Dill and pull him back, and he falls back, back on and hits the floor quite hard. And yeah, so Bill, you kind of come out of a daze. You just find you just sat sort of like on your back on the floor.
Whoa, Max? Why are you, Maxwell? Why are you holding me like you, my lady of the night? What's going on here?
So Brian lashes out at you, Maxwell, with his arm with the strap of the straitjacket, and just like just swings it out, like whips it out towards you.
Punch him in the face.
Okay, so what's your dex?
Like, oh, what, my dexterity or my dodge roll?
Your dexterity roll.
My
Initiative.
dexterity is 60 and my dodge is a 60, so yeah, they're about the same. So
Sorry, no, it's your dex score. What's your dex score?
at 60.
60. Okay, right. Brian's quicker, so he like lashes out at you with this. Okay, so he's not got a. I need to add a thing onto there. Just 1 second. I can steal it from somebody else's sheet. There we go. Ooh. Right, so yeah, he lashes out at you like using the strap as like a whip, and you manage to. He just swings wildly. Maybe like as he leans forward, he overestimates how much freedom and movement he's got, and you're easily able to like step back out of the way. And just the strap and the buckle on the strap just like just barely misses your face.
What I want to do is I want to.
Go on.
Well, it's like as he swings by and does it, I want to grab the strap, pull his arm down, and just give a haymaker right to his face.
Okay. It gives a fighting brawl, and that kind of be a maneuver, but yeah, go on.
I just want to say this. I'm lying on the floor with 2 guns in my pocket.
Aye. Oh shit.
Okay, so yeah, you miss. You try and grab it, but you're too slow and you miss. But you still you don't grab all that, but you can still land a punch on him though.
Okay. Again.
So yeah, roll again, because like I said, do that as a grab, and then you can do So yeah, you land a punch on his. Okay, so it does 1d3, I believe. So you'd normally use the combat. You can trigger that from the combat tab. Yeah, it's 1d3 plus any damage bonus you've got.
All right, so 1d3 plus I guess strength.
So it'll say if you've got on your. Let's have a look.
Yeah, it's to do with build, I think.
Yeah, Maxwell Thomas. So yeah, you have got so under your stats you've got, it says DB 1d4.
Okay,
so
right here it says 1d3.
Yes, if you go into combat, it'll say unarmed. It says 1d3. So if you click on the 1d3 on the combat tab next to unarmed, that'll roll 1d3, and there you go. There's a button in here. So in chat now, there's a card. So you click on that, and it'll roll both the. Just 2. Oh, right.
Oh no, Max.
God, oh my God.
Okay, right. So yeah, you landing one straight on the cheek, and his head kind of snaps back, and hits the wall. And he looks maybe a little bit surprised, and he gives a yelp. Yeah. So now what? What are you doing?
He's like, he looks at him right there, and he's gonna tackle him to the ground and pin him down.
Okay, so yeah, let's say you'll be able to do that anyway, because like I say, he's only got one arm free. Dill didn't manage to get many of his restraints free. What's Dill doing? So Thomas, Maxwell just dives on Brian, holding him down, restraining him. You can hear the like shout from outside.
And I'm not like commanded to walk away anymore. I can go back.
Oh no, you can. You're still heading off.
I'm off. Shit.
Yeah. You, in fact, by now you reached the first security gate and kind of just stood there.
Oh no.
But no, the guards, the orderlies, give a shout. What's going on?
And it's like I need help in here, in the muzzle.
Okay, so the as Dale, your problem ain't just like picking yourself up on the floor, and the two orderlies burst in to see what's happening. I say, oh fuck! It's like the one of them glares at you and get outside now. Knew this was a bad idea, and they push the kind of like they don't push you out, Maxwell. They don't push you out of the way. They kind of sort of look out of the way, and they just like pin him down. And Brian's like fuming and cursing and spitting and trying to bite him and just thrashing around like a fucking maniac.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Muzzle. It's like
and they says out. All
right, I help Dale out. It's like we gotta go. Let's go catch Thomas to say there's something weird with him.
Yeah, to be fair, I was gonna fucking blow that motherfucker's brain out if we were there for another 2 minutes, so let's go find fucking Thomas.
That would have been a swift end to the adventure, that's for sure.
Yeah, it's like, now he grabs his gun back from you.
It was very, very close to me just fucking shooting him.